Owen. In his best-selling book, Lies My Teacher Told Me, virtually none of the body of knowledge taught in schools is true. The idea that Europe brought civilizations to America is a lie. America before Columbus was described as the most beautiful city on earth. 5 times the size of London or Rome, great towers and buildings rising from the waters, gleaming houses, spacious and well built, beautiful stonework, streets and boulevards, clean and neat, floating gardens, merchant areas filled with timber and building materials, as well as green grocery streets. The Europeans were astonished by their personal cleanness and hygiene of the colorful dressed people and their use of soaps and sweeteners for their breath. Before Europe came out of the Dark Age and realized that there were nations scientifically advanced, ancient Americans that were black were one of the most advanced civilizations. This is before Spaniards, before Mexicans, before the Barren Straits. It was said that no European who has tasted the life of an Indian afterwards not bear to live in their society. They couldn't leave once they got there because it was so clean, it was so beautiful, it was so organized. The original indigenous inhabitants were black, one of the largest and oldest nations in America. The Europeans originally referred to these people as the Red Man. The American Holocaust quotes, "The tribe of the first settlers have been deliberately changed because the truth was too shameful. They spent most of their days digging holes and instead of planting crops. Soon they were starving and digging up corpses of Indians to eat." These people were savages. The true history of blacks is a powerful story of global genocide and on a magnitude that is unbelievable. 100 million blacks and brown people were wiped off the global landscape and America's continent without trace. In the 1700s, 80% of the U.S. budget was spent on attacking Indians and taking their land. 20% went to re-education. 80% of the Native American population were enslaved or wiped out. In the 1800s, the Act for the Government and Protection of the Indians was passed. This allowed any white settlers to force any Indian found without support to work for himself. Since Indians couldn't testify in court, any Indian could be seized as a slave under law. Many settlers didn't even bother with law and would purchase Indian children stolen. Fortunes were made of the sale of women and children. 1853, the U.S. Senate authorized the committee to renegotiate treaties with the Indians of California. They agreed to give away millions of acres in exchange for the U.S. government promise to protect the land, water, and game which they needed to survive. The tribes started moving to their new location to find that the Senate lied and found military posts where they would be put into a system of discipline and instruction. Towns offered bounties to hunters and cash for every Indian scalp. Rewards ranged from $5 to 25 cents. Indigenous women were forced to wear the severed heads of their husbands and sons as necklaces for months. In 1870, the census only recorded 3,200. However, that did not take into account the other natives who ran away. The black Indians continued to fight until 1890s. The gold rush was the beginning of the end for the first people of the land. My people, you are already home. You cannot go back to where you are not from. Money was spent to re-educate you, to break you, to make you forget, make you not even want to speak about certain things. This is your land. You are civilized. You are kind. You know how to take care of the earth. This is your land. We must not continue to do what they want us to do and not work together, not be together. Don't believe the lies you were told from a book of a man who has conquered your people. You have to know that this is where you and your ancestors have lived, died, and fought. Now it's up to us to fight for what is ours. I don't think we'll ever be back to having the whole basically world to ourselves, but we need to find a place where we can unite, where we can work, where we can live, and where we could grow. We need to stick together.